with one of the hosts, Tom Leffler. Today I'm going to discuss ruminating, something that I personally have struggled with in the past. And when I mean ruminating, I mean discussing or constantly contemplating problems. So in the past, I have shared with this on this show, I struggled with depression, anxiety, numbness, lack of excitement, apathy, etc. And one thing that I did a lot of time when I was in those stages was really like thinking about my problems. Now that's where rumination comes along. It's just ruminating means just to constantly talk, discuss, work through the same problems. And even I was guilty of this. I'm in therapy and I was with a therapist, and I would be constantly talking about the same issue, the same problems, but they would actually grow, if that makes sense. So by continually discussing the same problems and not really breaking through out of them or doing a lot of massive action to get out of it, it kind of just kept me at a standstill and actually for a period made the problems actually worse than they actually were. But then through aiming up and making small incremental changes, that's when I kind of broke out of the depression cycle that I was in, or the apathy or numbness. So I would suggest, for me, what worked is, okay, yes, it is good to talk to people. It is good to seek guidance, therapy, consult with family, friends, pray, whatever that may be for you. But I would suggest not to sit in it too long. By means sit in it, I mean feel it, process it. Something I failed to do for a while was actually feel and process. I kind of just would shove under the rug and just escape with work, me personally. But I would suggest feeling, processing it, but take the next best step. Something that worked for me is you have the whole field and you have I had all these problems, all these things I wanted to do, and it was just daunting, overwhelming. It's like, I don't know what to do. It's just, I just, so many things have to get done. Like, I'm so far behind. I don't like this, I don't like that. And I would just be like crippled by anxiety. And then thought process, I was like, what's the next best step? In this moment, what's the next best thing I can do? So I would suggest what worked for me when feeling depression and super anxious, lost, what have you, just focus on, okay, what's my next best step? Instead of ruminating, like just keep sitting in the problem, sitting in the fear, sitting in all that, it's like, okay, what is my next best step? What right now can I do to move the needle forward? I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. He talks a lot about like aiming forward, and also don't compare yourself to others, just compare yourself to yesterday. And that mental framework really helps with, like, nowadays, for me personally, social media, you see, like, easy example, someone in tremendous physical shape, and you're like, I'm so far away from that, versus how about I'll be better than yesterday? So easy example, fitness is very easy to correlate. Is, okay, instead of eating 3,000 calories of junk food like I did yesterday, let's eat 2,700 calories of healthy food today. And so you're ready, and then you do that, and then the next day, okay, let's do 2,500 calories of healthy food again. Boom. Okay, now let's go for a walk after I eat my meal the next day. Boom. Okay, let's go to the gym twice a week. Boom. So it's just, if you keep bettering yourself through comparing yourself from the day prior, it actually becomes exponential. So at first it seems gradual, but you do that over time and it just compounds. It compounds. So for me, and I'm speaking to myself here, just something honestly, like I'm in my transition phase of season, and now it's November, I'm recording this. So I'm coming off the high of like constant like work and taking a lot out of me from the pool business, and a lot of calls, a lot of texts, a lot of stimulation, to it quieting down dramatically. And I'm just kind of like blah, I'm coming off that high of go, all this. And again, I'm speaking for myself here, speaking to the audiences. I'm working through this kind of blah, lack of excitement type mentality, but like, it's like, okay, instead of like, I'm gonna wake up and like do this crazy morning routine, go to the gym for an hour, meet with friends, work on my mindset, record this podcast, and then write a book, because I have so much time, I have like so much freedom, and I'm very blessed for that. But I want to go 0 to 1,000. But it's like, okay, what should I do? Okay, so for example, day one was wake up, early, 6 a.m., do my morning routine. Check. Okay, today, record a podcast, wake up at 6 a.m., morning routine, record a podcast. Check. Eat good meals. Good. All right, tomorrow, wake up early, go to the gym, take a meeting, do some deep work on myself, work on my other business. So it's just compounding one day at a time. It's not trying to do everything at once. And I'm guilty of this. I'm an extreme person. So I have to remind myself, it's like, okay, it's a transition phase. And it's like, okay, let's basically start at ground one. It's like, okay, what can I do today that's better than yesterday? What's going to move me forward in a way that I want to go? Because honestly, just a month ago, I was just compelled to be working at my business. That's something I realized too about entrepreneurship and having total freedom that doesn't often get discussed. Is like, it is a beautiful and it is a blessing, but it's also could be crippling if you don't have structure and routine. It's like everyone idolizes, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, create my own schedule, it's beautiful. But honestly, for me, sometimes it's worse because you have all day to do whatever. You don't report to anybody but yourself. And so you'd be like, oh, I can do that later, or I'll work on this project this time. And then, you're scrolling on social media, you're procrastinating, doing little things instead of doing the actual thing. So I would suggest being realistic. If you're an entrepreneur, just me again, speaking to myself, to time block or to write a list of 2 to 3 or even one thing that you want to accomplish that day, because then you can have 20 things you want to do, and that just becomes overwhelming. Then I myself just end up distracting myself from doing anything. Versus if I have okay, I want to at least do these 2 things, that's much more realistic and manageable than 10 or 20 things. So getting back to my original point about ruminating is, I'm discussing this, and this is something I still deal with, is with time and in this off season, I even ruminate about little things, ruminating about how do you know when your partner, any partner, a business partner, a life partner, how do you know if that person is for you, or is a fit for you, or how do you know if the choices or goals I'm working towards are the goals I want to achieve? Those type of deep questions that there's really no cut answer, and you can't ask anybody, and you just kind of have to just trust yourself and create space to contemplate it. I do think it's important to contemplate, big things and do think about it, but I would be cautious of contemplating and ruminating over problems versus questions, if that makes sense. I don't know if I made sense there. So I would suggest, me personally, I do really think through and mull over questions or existential things I'm thinking about, but I try not to ruminate, overthink, overanalyze my problems. With my problems, I try just solutions, next best step, try to be better than yesterday, those type of things. But with life, goals or next big moves, I do really think that through. So there's a different approach to different things that I realized. And I thank everybody for tuning in today. And I suggest, hey, next best move, be better than yesterday. Stop comparing to other people and only compare to your yesterday self, or even it could be that your morning self or the hour before self. It's only you versus you in the terms of when you want to improve yourself. Because if you compare yourself to other people, it's unrealistic, because you don't know what they're going through, what their thought process. Only thing you can do is compare yourself to your old version and aim up. Try to be better than you were yesterday. Try to be better than you were this morning. Try to be better than you were the last hour. And it's not just better in the sense of, getting stuff done or in better physical shape. It can also be a better mindset. It's like, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up like I did yesterday. I'm going to be, give myself more grace. I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to forgive others. I'm going to love myself. It could be how corny that is, or I have more faith in God. Whatever that might be for you, is I realize now there's a lot more ways to improve beyond just the physical, financial, the tangible things. Mindset, connection, spirituality are big things, if not bigger. I think mindset's the most important thing, in my opinion. I chased fitness, physical looks, and finances first. And I now am chasing a better mindset, and I realize I had it backwards. I think mindset should really be the first objective of people, because then if you have the mindset right, the rest will follow. Again, it's easier than to go to the body first with fitness. That's usually a gateway drug into this self-improvement stuff. But I would really don't neglect the mindset. I was guilty of this, just chasing physical, financial, the big, the bank account number or the business revenue number or the bigger biceps or wherever that is. But if you have those things, but you don't, truly have connection with yourself, with the universe, God, whatever that may be, or other people, it really is a shallow existence, I come to find. So that's just my suggestion.